Hi, I'm Kate Mueller, Chief Product Owl and Resident Cheesemonger here at KnowledgeOwl, and welcome to the July 2023 product newsletter. We've got a lot of good stuff in here, so let's get right to it. So certainly the visually most interesting is what we're going to start with today. We've released some improvements to category icon panels. So when we first built category icons, we assumed that folks would want to use a colored icon on a white background. And so we just put in the icon itself and then styled the category panels using CSS. And very quickly, we got feedback from folks that they really wanted to play around with having colored backgrounds and white or light colored icons. So for each Font Awesome icon, we've added this background color picker, so you can set both the color for the icon and the background color for the icon. We've also added a section into setting style, into the color palette there, where you can pick a default category icons background. So this setting won't change any of the color backgrounds on existing icons, but it will change what opens by default when you are viewing the category icon picker. It'll change this background swatch automatically. So here's a little bit about what this allows you to do differently. So before you had to pick like a colored icon and use that against the default white background. Here I've updated this to use a colored background and white or white plus duotone icons. So you can get a slightly different treatment here. We've also got some documentation if you wanted to restyle the entire panel to have different background colors. You can go pretty far down that rabbit hole. The other change we've added for category icon panels is that we now have this option for you to say whether or not you want to show the category description. This was also something we got a lot of feedback on very quickly from folks, that if they were showing an icon, there were some cases where they wanted to be able to show category descriptions. So I'm going to check this little box under the icon panels options section, and I will come out here and refresh. You'll see that I now get whatever my category description is. I will say, having played with this a little bit, it does encourage you to be very succinct with your category descriptions. You can also restyle the font and treatment of these descriptions to make them a lot smaller, for example, to get rid of the coloring on the font, whatever you want to do here. There's documentation that'll walk you through all of those elements. Maybe less visually exciting, but still very exciting if you're really into controlling terminology in your knowledge base. We've now finished building out the option to basically totally rebrand glossary to a term of your choice in customized text. So previously, we already had some settings to customize the links to glossary that might show up in your search results, as well as in the table of contents. What we've added now is this new miscellaneous section that currently just has one option, which is the glossary page title. So what that means, if you reset all of those to the term of your choice, is that you'll be able to change both the appearance in the table of contents. If you're using glossary snippets in search results at all, those will also update to the chosen term. And now when you navigate to the page title can be whatever you want. This page title setting is also completely compatible with the option in search settings to display a link to glossary when the word glossary is searched. In this case, we will display a link to the glossary both when the term glossary is searched and whatever you have chosen to rename that glossary page title to is searched. We didn't want to get rid of glossary in case you have readers who are very well trained to search for that, but we did want to add the new term. That's fully available. We've got a document that'll walk you through if you want to do the complete rebrand to call it a dictionary or an encyclopedia or a list of acronyms, whatever you want to use. The other major change is huge for us and probably very minimal for you, which is that we have changed the word that we call users to be authors. So historically, we've had a lot of trouble explaining to people the difference between a reader and a user, because readers are sort of like the end user of your knowledge base. They're the one viewing your live knowledge base. And we'd always called the folks that are logging into the back end here in the app users. And that terminology has been confusing for folks for a long time. So we decided to finally address that. And we've renamed users to authors. So everywhere that previously we said user now says author. The concept is the same. You're only paying for author seats Authors are the ones who log in on the back end and can either make administrative changes to the knowledge base or create and update content. Readers are the ones viewing your knowledge base. You aren't charged for those at all. The main difference you'll see here is that the Your Account Users page is now Your Account Authors, and anywhere that we reference user teams is now author teams. User roles are now author roles. The functionality is identical to what it was before. We're just hoping that renaming it makes it a little bit more user-friendly and obvious to folks the difference between an author and a reader. Aside from that, we've got some updates out in the world in our support knowledge base. So first and foremost, we did a Wisdom Wednesday early in July on using the customized text tool to change your article template. I mentioned this in our last product newsletter. We did do this session. The recording is up in the Wisdom Wednesday section of the support knowledge base. You are welcome to go check it out at your leisure. We've also been making a few updates on the documentation side. Obviously, the change from user to author has been a huge set of updates. I am still finishing a few of them up. So if you happen to see a screenshot or a reference to user somewhere that isn't the release notes category, drop me a line. It probably means I missed it. Release notes, I'm updating slowly but surely. I figured those are historical, so probably fewer folks will be upset at the wrong term there. The other kind of notable change on the documentation side is that previously in our reporting section, we had a whole category about using Google Analytics. And with Google's switch to Google Analytics 4 away from Universal Analytics, we've just noticed that the user interface is a lot harder to use. It's harder to do some of the complex setups that we used to help customers with. And we've decided to step back a little bit from that and to try to make our analytics data a little bit more generic. So instead of saying Google Analytics here in the reporting section, it just says Analytics, and we give you some more general information about how to add third-party analytics. If you want to get some analytics on what people are searching for or potentially track what individual readers are doing, we've given you some broad strokes here, but we're kind of giving up on the idea of being Google Analytics experts. That said, we are very much, from a product standpoint, exploring integrations with open source analytics tools in the hope that we will be able to include some analytics out of the box in KnowledgeOwl. We're not there yet. It takes a while to vet and play around with these things. But if you are also struggling with Google Analytics, don't know what to do, we are trying to find a solution that we think is more user-friendly that we could put directly into the app. That's not going to be fast, but we're super excited about it. We've released 2 blog posts in the last month that I think could be really cool for folks to check out. So one of them is this Perched on Progress, an Owl's Guide to Documenting Your Career Growth. One of our lead success owls, Erica, wrote this. It's a really good write-up if you are used to doing customer experience stuff, used to doing documentation, used to doing things where it's hard for people to see what you're doing and qualify or quantify what you're doing. Her blog post is a fantastic way to start to capture what you've been doing, to make the case for pay increases, moving into new roles, all kinds of things. And if nothing else, to help you realize how much work you're doing or how many things you've learned over the course of your role. The other new post we've got is from a guest blogger we connected with through the Write the Docs community on how to put the customer first in your sentences. I love this post. I actually laughed out loud through parts of it. I think there's some very accessible, immediately actionable items in here. Both of these could be really good resources for you. And last but not least, we are still sneak peeking the same thing we were sneak peeking in last month's product newsletter, which is that we are overhauling a bit the way that SMTP setups are done. So historically, SMTP has been configured within particular features like subscriptions or for reader welcome emails. And these have always been done as independent things. And there's been very little messaging around if something's wrong with an SMTP configuration. So we are working to add Microsoft's OAuth 2 workflow into the SMT configuration. And while we did that, we said, you know what, it's really annoying to have to set up SMTP in different places and to have very little information if something's going wrong. So we are consolidating the various SMTP settings from different features and putting them all into a single menu that will be up here in your account. And then you can configure an SMTP across your entire account and then just apply it to the knowledge bases or the reader emails that you want to use it in. We're hoping this adds more visibility and makes it easier to troubleshoot when something goes wrong. And there you have it, folks, the July 2023 product newsletter. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next month.